Josh McDaniels talking about the offensive distribution, the way they're going to balance things this week. And basically, you get into trouble when you start feeding it to one player over and over and over again. I can't help but listen to a comment that Josh Allen had earlier this week.
I heard the same thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Allen had a comment where basically it's like, it all opened up for me when I felt like we didn't need to get specific people the ball. Which, to me, is like he's talking about Diggs.
I know he is, but also, like, I feel like that is pretty dismissive of how important Diggs was for his career.
I'm just telling
he borderline.
I'm just telling you what he said, and I'm telling you what Josh McDaniels said.
I know.
Diggs,
I hear that last year too. He was like happy Diggs was gone.
Diggs is involved. Yeah, I mean, most teams have been happy when Steph Diggs leaves.
Okay, but he was asked about why his turnovers went down, and that's what he talked about. So rather than taking accountability for some of your dumb throws.
Oh, Allen. Yes,
Allen. And I love Josh Allen. But I'm just saying, like, he's like, well, yeah, now I can just throw to the open guy. Oh, so sorry when Diggs showed up and you threw for an extra 1,500 yards and you were runner-up in the MVP his first year there. You were borderline out of the league after 2 years at Buffalo. Diggs shows up, really put you on the map. You figured out how to play quarterback at that point, and maybe now you're not feeding the ball to Steph Diggs as much, so the turnovers are down. But I don't know. So are the touchdowns and the yards. And when did he win the Super Bowl last year? Did he win the Super Bowl? The year Diggs left, did you go to the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
They didn't go there with him either.
I was like, come on.
They're the Bills, so
they are the Bills, so they're not going to. Not his fault.
Yeah.
No, but I like Allen, but that just seemed like a direct attack at Diggs. Like, he's so much better now that Diggs is gone. It's like, no, Diggs made you a whole lot better. You've maintained that good play. But you haven't won jack. You've gone just as far.
But it speaks to trying to force a ball to someone. And in fairness, I don't think May's forcing the ball to Diggs at all. In fact, I think we both want Diggs more involved this week, right? So I acknowledge that's a hard balance.
It is.
Where I want Diggs more involved. 3 targets isn't enough. But I also don't want it to a point where Drake May is locked onto him, and now he's the only guy he's throwing to. So there's a balance there. But I think there's a pretty big gap between 3 targets last week.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12 targets where you're locked onto them all game. Like somewhere in the middle to me would be pretty reasonable.
I agree. He should get more. He's not as good as he once was, so he doesn't need to get 16 targets a game, which is really what the pace was with Buffalo. But I don't know. I always thought it was a bit of like a misnomer where, Tom Brady's favorite receiver is the open receiver. Like, or is it Welker and Moss? Or is it Edelman and Gronk? I don't know if it really was. I think early in his career, you could maybe say that because it was guys like Brown and Patton and Givens.
Oh, yeah.
But then it got to a point you're like, no, his favorite receiver is Edelman and Gronk. And it should be.
Yeah. That changed over his career.
Yes.
But early in his career, I agree. That was
early
accurate.
in his career, I think that was it. But people kept saying it as it went on. And you're like, Wes Welker has like 1,600 yards receiving. I'm pretty sure his favorite receiver is Wes Welker.
Yeah, so I would like to see a little bit more there with Stefon Diggs involved this week. But again, you don't want to latch on to him, and you don't want the turnovers to pile up. And so the Patriots offense versus that Carolina secondary, which did get some big turnovers last week and one going away in a game that I certainly didn't see coming. That is this week's Verizon matchup again. Drake May, the turnovers against that Carolina secondary. Your Verizon matchup, the New England Patriots are powered by Verizon 5G. You think they clean it up this week, Keefe? You said yesterday in your 60-second preview, which you can check out at Jones and Keefe on social media, Twitter and Instagram. You said yesterday they could turn it over 2 times and still beat this Carolina team. Maybe they can. I wouldn't consider that cleaning up turnovers, though.
No. You'd like to see it go back the other way. I'm just saying they turned it over 5 times and almost still went down the field and tied the game and forced overtime against the Steelers. And the Steelers, I think, are better than the Panthers. So that's why I said I don't think it's one of these you have to have no turnovers. Like next week when you play Buffalo, I might say that. I might say you have to have a no turnover game to beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I think you can still get away with it. It wouldn't mean like, hey, there's nothing to see here. They're all set. But if that ends up happening, I think they can still overcome that and still beat Carolina. But no, hopefully it's a game where there are very few penalties, there's no turnovers, and we see a big step forward and a great Drake May performance and everything else.
What do you think they do with Stevenson and Pop this week?
So I think they both play. Now, Pop Douglas...
Do you read into it at all that Pop was on the show this morning that he might be playing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we had Christian Ellis on our show on Monday, and he got benched. He played, but he got benched.
He played the day before.
Yeah, true. But, like, I still don't know. Like, if he doesn't play or doesn't play much this Sunday, will we still have him on Monday? Maybe. I read more into the guys being on the show or not based on injury. Like, I don't think they let a lot of guys that are hurt, and Pop Douglas isn't hurt. but I do think he's active. I do. And I think that he already wasn't. It's not like he's going to go from being getting the most snaps at the position to the least snaps. He's already down there anyway.
4th on the depth chart. Yeah.
So yeah, I think he could still be out there. You know, if they think he had a good week of practice and if they think he was saying the right things or whatever, maybe he learned from it. I think he's still out there.
It's a shame.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't.
And if they lose the game and Stevenson and Douglas are active, I'm going to turn around and look at it and go, Vrabel didn't send a strong enough message this week that turnovers aren't acceptable, and not knowing the situation in a winning clutch spot isn't acceptable. Now, in fairness, if those guys go out and play well, we'll give Vrabel credit for pushing the right buttons. But I wouldn't play those guys this week. I wouldn't give either one a uniform.
Same. Absolutely same. However, my guess is they both play. My thought is this. I think Stevenson is active.
I think the way they're talking about Stevenson might get like a token benching to start the game, but he's gonna play and play a lot. I think Pop Douglas may get a uniform, but may not see the field.
My thought with Stevenson would be he certainly doesn't start, and then let's see what Henderson looks like. And if Henderson misses a block again,
he should look good. The Carolina run D is atrocious, so he should look good. Whoever gets the ball should look good.
He hasn't yet, and he's gotten carries. He's not getting 20 carries, but nobody is in this backfield. So he has gotten carries. He has not made the most of it. If he starts out and he's averaging 2 yards a carry and he misses a block on a pass play, I think they're going to be quicker to put Stevenson in. If Henderson goes out there and plays as well as you and I think that he can, maybe just kind of ride that hot hand and then sprinkle in Gibson, and then you're like, see, we're sending a message, but it's really more because they're doing well without him.
If you can't start Travion this week, what'd you draft him for?
I don't know.
You don't need Ramondre. Gibson fumbled last week. This is the week to turn over the backfield to Travion Henderson. And if you don't have confidence in him, you shouldn't have drafted him. And if he can't do it, we're going to look at it and say, maybe you shouldn't have drafted him. But this is the week to do it.
But I also wonder, this week, if Ramondre Stevenson, whether it's the first, second, or third, fourth quarter, if he fumbles, what do you do? What's the response? I feel like.
What do you mean? What, from us?
No.
What does Vrabel do?
Yell at the TV. I'll spit out my beer. No, what do the Patriots do? Because that's why I think sitting him for the whole game is even better. Then you come back, it's further removed. Not that it wouldn't be impactful anytime he fumbles again, because now that tag is on him.
We'd all have our pound of flesh, and he sat down, and we're fine.
Yeah, that's what I think.
If he goes out there and fumbles, if he gets to play and fumbles on Sunday,
I wouldn't even be mad at him. I'll be mad at Vrabel for putting him out there.
This is what Curran said earlier this week, and I agree. That the person to be mad at if they put him in that spot again and he fumbles is Mike Vrabel. Yeah. So it's a big, big week for Mike Vrabel this weekend against the Carolina Panthers. We said that going into the Dolphins game. He came through, but it's already the second time in a month we're like, boy, Vrabel's back's kind of against the wall, which I did not see coming. You can discuss all day long here on a Patriots Friday at 617-779-7937. Football talk, by the way, on WEEI, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local game live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Patriots Friday 4-pack, week in review. Keys, past Panthers at 1 o'clock. Milt the Stilt Williams, Bozo touchdown parlay, Survivor pool.
Wow.
What else? Pure Hoops with Terp, close to noon.
Jam-packed.
Very jam-packed. Plus.
Random ball player.
Robbie Devers update.
Daily Devers update.
Plus, we got your top 5 Friday, the top 5 sports mascots next.